Hey, Daily Dosers, thanks for joining us today. My name is Chase, and I'm our campus pastor out in Temecula. And I was reminded as we kick off this next week, there's a story of, I was working up at camp in an area, and it's a heavily forested area. And if you know me, I've got a Jeep. You take the doors off, you take the top off, and so everyone at camp that worked there knew exactly what my vehicle looked like. But it's middle of the summer, which if you're in a forested area means snakes and other creatures. Well, one of my staff members thought, hey, we've got some downtime, we've got some time to kill. And so they just happened to run over a rattlesnake, and they were like, well, what should we do with this? Well, knowing that I have a Jeep with no doors and no top, they came to me and said, hey, could we get your help? We need to get to a different part of camp. I walk up to the Jeep, get in, start turning it on and everything. And he was like, hey, what's that next to your foot? And I look down, there's a snake. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit about grace today, and this whole week we're understanding grace, what it is, how we extend that to other people. And so I want to look at a couple verses that we've all heard before, because not only do I want to talk about what grace is and how we extend that to other people, I want to talk about what it isn't. A couple verses, Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. It says this, "For it is by grace ye have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast." Now, I'm assuming we know what this piece of grace or this gift is. It's Jesus dying on the cross for our sins, and so we can have this restored relationship with him. But there's two interesting things that pop up as you read this. Twice it says what grace isn't. It says grace is not from ourselves, and it says it's not by works that we get this thing. It is this gift. And so in this situation where I had this staff member that dropped this snake off in my Jeep, I still get to work with this individual today because of this grace that I've experienced myself. See, I understand, hey, grace that God has given me, it's not something I can earn. Think about all those relationships we have where we wait for the other person to come forward and say, hey, I'm sorry, or to take the actions to try to get back into a right relationship. Whereas this says, you know what, because of the grace that's been extended to us, it's not something we earn. It's something that we freely extend beforehand. And so the other part that I want to remind us of is it's not from ourselves. We can only truly extend actual grace when we know and experience the grace that's been given to us instead. See, once we understand the sacrifice that Jesus has made for us, and that this grace cannot truly come from ourselves, it has to come, that example comes from God and what he's done for us. So in the relationships that we get to have with other people, one, it's not going to come from us. I guarantee you don't want to extend that grace because there has been wrong there. Your feelings are hurt. You don't want to go and really forgive or extend that grace to somebody. It has to come from God. And then we can't wait around for that grace to be extended because they've deserved it. At that point, it's not grace. It's something that we've earned. It's that relationship. We've tried to rebuild that relationship. So as we look at grace this week, let me just remind us, one, it doesn't come from ourselves. It can't. It's not grace at that point. And two, we can't wait for somebody to reciprocate and try to earn it. Otherwise, we're not looking at grace. To really understand grace, we need to look back at the ultimate example of who Jesus was and what he did for us. Thanks for joining us.